Are you joining us, Sean?
Oh wait, am I? Yes, I am joining. Wait, I haven't gotten in. Wait, what are we doing? I'm confused.
We're casting the Google Watch game.
Oh, what? I did not know that.
Would you like to stay to be our analyst?
Oh no, I'm good.
Alright.
Not going over
Hi,
well.
Mom.
Hi.
Oh god, get me out of here.
Would you guys want to stay to be our analyst?
Nope.
Looks like they're gonna stay. We'll ask you guys easy questions between the breaks. And between the matches, the maps.
Alright. I think everything is... Oops, I should mute my mic.
We're not live yet, right?
No,
I don't know.
we're live.
Okay.
And we're live!
We've been live for about like 5 minutes.
Hi, Twitch.
Hi, Twitch. It's us again. Fantastic, and we blew noob. So here we have the Firemeis. The Firemeis consists of Charizard, Cruz, Kashan, Scratatata, Metronome, and Delphist. And on the compilers team, we have Guilty Souls, Tolly, Fluffy Sheep, Ham, Sandwich, Don Yil, and Test Subject. So the first map is Oasis.
Yes, it is.
What do you think we can see out of the Firemeis?
I'm not quite sure. I'm familiar with the Jippy, Delphis, and Charizard, although I'm only particularly familiar with Charizard's May, and I don't think they're going to be running May on Oasis, just because it's not a very good May map. But last I saw, Jippy tended to like running Diva, and Diva's stronger now, so I expect we can see some of that. And not sure about Delphis.
What do you think about May on Oasis University, though?
It can work a bit better there, just because the choke going up, but that there's still two ways around that. There's the two paths on the side, so it works better than on the other two maps. But I don't expect they'll be running it unless they really want that May strat. But I expect it later in the match when they're on maps like Hanamura or King's Row, where there's more typically that's where you see May played.
Initiating match.
Here we are starting the first map of Oasis, and it will be Gardens.
I feel Dragon Compiler is probably gonna run a Brig, and Brigs are great for King of the Hill maps. Looks like both teams are going to run a Brig. Let's see. Dragon Compilers are doing. Okay, I'm not gonna triple heals. It looks like they can't make up their minds. Let's see if they do. They got 7 seconds.
Looks like they're going to be running 2-2-2. Actually, 3 supports with
Ready for battle.
Sim.
Yes, they're
I'm not
running
sure
Korean. They're running Korean style goats with 1 DPS. But it looks like they're switched up. Wait. Oh, that's the big teams. Okay, they have almost 10 seconds still. That's why they're gonna make up their minds.
It does look like
5, 4, 3.
They're running Korean goats
Yeah.
with the Hanzo.
It looks like Firemeis are going to be running Mei on Gardens, which I haven't really seen before.
See through the darkness.
Mei has sectioned off 2 of his teammates, and they've already taken out Daniel and Tub, test subject.
Like Firemeis is going to take advantage in this first fight. Dragging Power's back, and it looks like they're going to be able to take first point.
Now we've doubted Charizard's Mei, but it seems that his isolation of the enemy team did work for their side.
Yeah, Dragon Powers pushed into Firemeis, and they were able to wall off in that choke in the middle and get him picked off based on that. Charizard tries to do the same thing to test subject, but manages to miss the wall, and isn't able to get picked from that. It looks like Dragon Powers are able to get 3 picks, and that's the 4th. This looks like they're going to be taking the point off this right now. Although they do burn grab at the end there.
Grab, they do. And the Mei is still on point, and the Mei is out. Now it looks like Team Dragon Compilers were doing a really good job surrounding their team, flanking. I saw the Hanzo and the Brig taking advantage of the high ground, going down and de-meching the Diva. Now let's see what they do for their attack.
They're also able to bait out the wall, which gave them a big advantage because Mei can still freeze with her left click, but once that wall's gone, a lot of the scariness of Mei is gone. And this next fight is currently even. JP manages to get a kill with the bomb, which now puts the advantage towards Firemeis. Still a pretty even fight right now. Dragging on, but now still tied. Actually now one person advantage towards the Dragon Compiler. Trans comes out from the Dragon Compiler, and looks like they're going to be able to get into this fight and hold on to point. Currently with the advantage of about 65%.
Now it looks like Charizard did commit his Blizzard. Hanzo on what's his name? Guilty Souls was frozen, but no one on his team was able to capitalize on that. Now I like how the Dragon Compilers are taking advantage of the high ground.
Yep. And coming to this fight, both teams are only going to have about 1 ult, although Flagship is coming up on grab, so if you can combo that with Guilty Soul, it looks like Dragon Compilers will have advantage. Although Brig on Firemeis manages to get picked, followed by a pick from several of the teams, so it looks like the Firemeis are going to be able to take this fight out, burning a whole lot of ults. Except the
Dragon Compiles.
Yeah, Dragon Compilers managed to get picks after that without, despite being down 3 players, and looks like they're actually going to win this fight, and probably end up taking this map off, or this round based off that, and then they are 100-44.
Touchdown!
Score 0-1.
What do you think the Firemeis need to do to win this map?
I think they, at least on that last map, they needed to probably switch off the Mei, because it didn't feel like they were getting a whole lot of value out of it once they were fighting on point, just because that wall wasn't able to completely block up the team like they were able to in that first fight, where they were able to completely wall off half the team. However, that might change this map because the choke is a bit tighter. So they're going to keep running the Mei into that, and we'll see how that works out for them. Delphus does switch off into the Junkrat, though, to get some more splash damage. No changes from anyone on the Dragon Compilers, though.
Enemy contact.
Now,
Looks
Dongil does get pinned by Reinhardt, and looks like the team is being split.
Yeah, the Firemeis were able to use that Mei wall to separate the team and get a sharp directly into the wall to get a pick early, but the Dragon Compilers fell with 2 picks, and now it's currently a 1-person advantage in favor of the Dragon Compilers. Now 2-person advantage. Looks like they're going to be able to clean up this fight, take first point, and start getting some percentage going.
Now they do say statistically, if you get the first pick 60% of the time, you will win the map. But however, Dragon Compilers returned with two eliminations, so and ended up winning the point.
And here we see the Dragon Compilers being very aggressive, almost pushing up to their spawn. They get 2 picks for it, but end up losing their at the same time. So they're currently up 1, but with the spawn advantage, the Firemeis might be able to push it and get a 5v6 for a few seconds. They're fast here.
And the tire gets 2.
Delpha's getting a lot of value for that tire, getting 2, followed up by a pick from Truce. So it looks like the Firemeis are going to be able to take this fight pretty easily and get the point captured at about 50%.
Now Charizard and Chibi both have their ults, also Cruise on the Reinhardt and Convalescence coming.
And coming this next fight, looks like the Dragon Compiler is going to have 4 ults to the Firemeis 4 ults as well. Both going to have Grav and a support ult, but the Dragon Compiler is going to have a Hanzo ult to combo with that Grav, which can be very devastating. Truce manages to get a pick as well as Jippy, but then Jippy falls immediately after, so it's a 1-person advantage for the Firemeis. Let's see if they push in with that advantage right now.
They do have a Lucio, so we are going to see respawns faster. Charizard does have the Blizzard and may be able to delay. And yes, it comes out and fully responds with a trans. Test subject shatters and gets free. Both rounds committed and Dragon.
A lot of ults blown there, but it's pretty even right now. But because
now someone needs to get on. Oh, the whole team is dead.
Delphos managed to get 2 kills, but it's too late. The point's already captured. And
It's a 2v3. I would regroup. Oh, it's a 3v3 now, and Fluffy's coming in.
Firemeis just kind of trickling onto the point and managing to get a pick. Fight's still going the way of the Firemeis. It looks like they're going to be able to take this back.
Yes, and Guilty Souls switch from Hanzo to Pharah.
This typically isn't a Pharah map, but considering the Firemeis aren't running a hit scan to deal with Pharah, it's not a bad pick.
However, they are running Green Goat modified, and they only have Zen for the main heal, and a boost attack from Dongil Brig.
If Brig can get there and fight her passive healing.
Ooh, and Test Subject in for the Shatter, but he misses.
And there we see Charizard getting good value from that ball, simply walling up the enemy Ryan, allowing a free pick essentially for 10 second cooldown. Delvis gets another pick with Riptire, just kind of securing his team's advantage. Although Guilty Souls managed to pick him off on that Pharah. Currently up 2 for the Firemeis. Couple of trades, but still advantage going to the Firemeis. Looks like they might be able to clean this up and take the map right here if they can get some kills on the remaining players at the point. Only 2 tanks left, but they're walled off. Can they touch point? They can't.
That was really great display of patience from Team Firemeis.
1-1.
And on that map, they were actually able to get a lot of value out of the Mei. Multiple times walling off a single player and being able to get a pick for, based off that. But on this final map of Oasis City Center, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to do that because the chokes on this map are a lot wider. There's a couple of places where you can definitely completely wall off the team, but it's not as prevalent as on that last one, which was University.
5, 4.
Yes, and there's a lot of high ground here, so whoever takes advantage of that will most likely win this map.
Looks like Firemeis are going to try and take advantage of that with a Far of their own, with nothing in return from the Dragon compilers. So we see Charizard on Mei with, Pharah with a Mercy Pocket with no hit scan from Dragon compilers to contest. So assuming she can keep her distance, there's no one really on the Dragon compilers that can deal with her. Point unlocks, the fight begins, but pick goes over to the Dragon. Guilty Soul is able to get 2 picks on both the Pharah and the Mercy, which is allowing his team to just roll in, get the cleanup, and it looks like they're going to be taking the first point here. Clean fight, no losses from the Dragon compiler. A good stagger on Jippy.
And they did not. They walked off the point without capping it. All right, time they capped it, and it looks like Dive is a much better team comp for this map. But it doesn't look like Team Firemeis is going to change.
Firemeis are currently trying to go up and take high ground, bounce house. Soldier goes up on himself, but immediately goes back down when he sees the Winston. Winston alone and gets picked. So now it's advantage for the Firemeis. See if they can advantage of that. Knock the Brig off high ground, get a pick on her. Bad for the Dragon compilers. Tactical Visor comes out, gets a DMAC on the Diva.
And it's
Ryan Chowder gets
4. But a little bit late on cleaning up the kills, and it looks like Lucio's doing a good job contesting the point.
Yeah, that Shatter got 4, but there wasn't really anyone to follow up, so it was kind of a wasted ult. The Dragon Compiler is still managing to stall this point at now almost 65%. Finally, the Firemeis are able to clear all of them off and capture the point, but at almost 70%, if the Dragon Compilers capture this point back, they're pretty much in good territory to win this map.
It looks like the Dragon Compilers have 5 ults to work with on this push.
Now that the Firemeis are in control of the point, though, this Pharah is going to probably work a bit better with them because historically Pharah's been a lot better defending points in the hill than attacking.
Oh, and it's a 3k Shatter. Let's see if the team can back him up on these kills.
Pocketed Charizard is still able to get a lot of damage, and Guilty Souls gets a good headshot on him and picks him off. 2 more picks from the Dragon Compilers, but followed by a pick from Jippy. It looks like it's a pretty even fight. Both teams have actually currently looks like Dragon Compilers have advantage of points, able to clear off Diva from point. Only Charizard left to stall point for the Firemeis. They can clear him off, they can cap the point real quick.
It looks like they're staggering into the point just to get the last bit of capture points.
They were able to stall that for a while, but in the end, the Dragon Compilers were able to capture the point, and with the amount of time that they have left, they've only really got 1 fight left to be able to take this point back and prevent the Dragon Compilers from winning. Still no changes from the Firemeis. They're going to be running this Pharah in on offense. Has Pharah ult ready, so they can get a good Pharah ult, which they could win that. But the Dragon Compilers get the first pick on Delphus. Charizard does manage to get 2 on Fire Barrage, but quickly followed up by 2 from Fluffy Shifted Bomb, means that it's currently in favor of the Dragon Compilers.
And Charizard is res by Metronome. And the 2-man Shatter. In response, Hammy...
2-man Shatter, but no follow-up, so no kills from that Shatter.
Pass into the iris.
And totally in with the Transcendence. And it looks like Charizard has lost his Mercy, and Firemeis are just all over him. I mean, the dragons are all over the Charizard.
And with that, the Dragon Compilers managed to get out a 2-1 victory on Oasis.
Play of the game.
So let's see, play of the game. Daniel.
Best offense is a good defense.
And he runs through. Okay, and holds mouse 1. Very impressive.
Typical Brig play.
Epic.
It's nice to feel appreciated.
Epic.
Now, how do you think, or what do you think about Dragon Compilers and their strategic strategies in winning these maps? Like, what do you think they focused on?
I think combination of good ult economy. They weren't burning a whole lot of ults at once, except in one occasion where I think they both teams were in like 4 ults at once. But generally, only burning a couple ults per fight allows them to consistently win fights instead of burning everything at once, winning a fight and then losing in the next one. Also, Guilty Souls on the Hanzo was managed to deal with Charizard's surprisingly well, which allowed them to deal with the fire without having to dedicate anyone to hit scan, so they had the higher damage output from the Hanzo.
Yes, and towards the end, I did see even the Diva getting in and trying to protect his teammates from the Pharah. And it looks like we have a switch with Konsu and Metronome.
The next map is going to be Eichenwald with the Firemeis choosing to defend first. So I think one of the things that the Firemeis need to work on following up on the Ryan Shatters, because a couple of times there have been great Ryan Shatters that got 3 or 4 members on the Dragon Compilers team, but there was no follow-up on from the rest of the team, so it turned out being a wasted ult. So it looks like the Firemeis are going to be running a Mei again on this map. Good choice, because that first choke is able to wall off completely. And unless the Dragon Compilers are able to bait out that wall effectively, it's going to be hard from the push to that choke.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Many of my comrades fell.
However, on the Dragon Compiler side, it looks like they're going to be going for a 3 support and 2 tank comp. Sort of like you said, that modified Korean Go Although they're going to be running Guilty Souls on Far for this, which isn't something you normally see with goats.
3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
So it seems like it's more like dive, because you don't have a rhyme for the Dragon compilers. And it's a really good nade. Brig and Zarya were naded, but
However,
again, no one...
It was a good nade, but there 2 picks on the Firemeis managed to get 2, now 3, 4 picks. This first push is not working out for the Dragon compilers. So the Dragon compilers are slowly pushing on the right, able to get through the choke without getting walled off by that Mei. Still no picks in the fight. Test Chuck goes in with his jump, tickles some people, but no kills.
I've got you in my sights.
And it looks like they committed Coalescence and Visor to this fight and cleans up. Now it looks like the team Firemeis aren't really using their wall to block or cut off because they know that they're running dive. Their team is running dive, so they're just casually walking through the point or jumping over it.
So half of the Dragon compilers team is able to avoid the wall. The supports and actually all the supports are unable to do that. So if they can isolate the supports with that wall, it should really get good value out of that.
And the grab was eaten by Diva. Oh, and a nice block with the shield. The shatter. And it looks like Team Dragon compilers can capitalize on this moment and cap that point. Let's see if they can do it.
Both that Diva eating grab and the Winston bubble blocking the shatter allowed them to essentially get a 2-ult advantage for free.
Objective lost. Stop the payload.
Now, you know, Test Subject is playing from a used, borrowed laptop because he's traveling for work right now. He's doing pretty good despite his situation.
It's like the Firemeis is going to try and hold at this initial choke, which isn't working out for them because they're currently down 1 in this fight. Now evened up with the Widow getting picked by the more.
The Firemeis are slowly backing up.
This is a place where you don't want to be fighting for too long because the attacking team has a much better spawn advantage here. However, Jippy does manage to get 2 kills, making the fight even, although Widow manages to get a pick, and now with Delphus and Jippy getting more picks, it looks like they are going to be able to stabilize the cart just after this initial choke point. Coming into this next fight, it looks like the Firemeis are going to have a huge ult advantage with 4 ults upright to the 1 tranquility from the Dragon compiler's Zen, and almost a Bob up, but not quite. Once again, Charizard uses that wall to wall off a single opponent, in this case the Brine, and get a free pick off base of that. Allows the Firemeis to end the fight right there and stall for another 20 seconds pretty much for free. Looks like the Dragon Compilers aren't pushing in very hard right now, despite having all the... Now pushing in through the left side of the choke. Mei ult comes out, does get a freeze on the Zarya, but no one really following up on that. The Firemeis are able to clean up pretty nicely after that ult ends. Ham Sandwich did end up burning his Tranquility during that fight, as well as Guilty Soul's Bob. So, still, Firemeis with a large ult advantage. 3 ults currently to 0, although both Shatter and Nano Boost are coming up soon. They should be useful in this next fight. Vulture Sheep gets an early pick, although GP returns the favor. Currently even. Guilty Souls gets another pick, as well as Ham Sandwich, so it looks like the Dragon Compilers might finally be able to break through the defense and start pushing the cart after a couple of minutes of being stalled out. It is an overtime though, so they won't be able to leave that cart, and the Firemeis will have plenty of time to reach the cart and try and get a win right here. Looks like the Firemeis are going around, a long way around trying to get a flank. Shatter comes out from the Dragon Compilers, but blocked by the wall. Soldier on the high ground with the tactical visor. He does pick off the Ana. And
it looks like looks like they're C9.
Yeah, so while the fight was going the way of the Firemeis, they did have a man advantage. No one was on cart, and 2 players from the Dragon Compilers were able to push to the end. Guilty Souls on Cruz on the Firemeis did try to finally stall the cart at the end, but it was not enough. The far ult came out, died, and they were able to cap the point. And they really should have probably lost that fight.
Guilty Souls with taking out Kanzu.
Cruz gets a pick return though. Currently, the Dragon Compilers are up 2 kills, although with this, how close the spawns are, the Firemeis are going to be able to get back and touch the point pretty quickly. Delphus burns his tactical visor, but gets killed almost immediately. I would have held on to that. Try to use it when the team regroups. 1-man shatter from Cruz, but no one's able to follow up. And it looks like this is going to be going the way of the Dragon Compilers. Firemeis trickling in, but the kill feed's all red. And finally the Dragon Compilers do manage to cap with a tiny bit of time left.
Score 0-3. Switching sides.
1.4 seconds.
What an amazing play from the Dragon Compilers. Now, I honestly thought they were going to not even cap the first point, let alone all 3.
Yeah, the Firemeis were able to hold that first point pretty well, but the loss of 2 ults without any investment from the Dragon Compilers allowed them to take it and push on to the second point. It looks like the Dragon Compilers are going to be running pretty much the same thing on defense, but swapping one of their players onto a Mei to try and do the same thing that Charizard was doing with the isolating the team with those Mei ults. However, it does look right now like the Firemeis are going to be running, see if they can just rush in with that Lucio and get in melee range with all those tanks before the Mei can wall off the team.
And as for the Dragon compilers, it looks like they are going for the like a bunker / long range fair rocket comp.
And they actually swapped off the Mei onto a Torbjorn. So it looks they're going to look for more long range poke damage, it seems, as opposed to an all-in engage.
So it looks like the Firemeis are running ghosts, and they're just going to go straight to the point.
Make it to the point, but they are taking constant poke from that far. Nothing to contest that far with when you're running goats. Except Jippy does manage to take her out. Guess she was flying too low. Currently even, but the spawn advantage is in favor of the Firemeis, but it doesn't look like they're going to need it because they're just cleaning up the rest of the Dragon compilers. Only Fluffy Sheep on the Zarya left to try and stall at the point. But he's down. That is the point for the Firemeis.
My ultimate is almost ready.
So it looks like Daniel on the Torrent has switched over to the Reaper.
Yes, the Reaper known for that tank shredding ability with those shotguns, as long as you can get, which is great against goats, as long as you don't get in stun range of that Perdita. If you get stunned, you're probably dead.
And it looks like Daniel has cleared the flank on the right.
Deciding not to contest at this initial choke point, instead holding at that second point. Generally much safer to hold there than try and contest at the gate. Briggle comes out, as well as a grab. And there's a lot of follow-up on that grab. 4 ults burned in that fight. But it worked out. Yeah, a lot of ults invested, but they won the fight and they still have a shatter left for the next fight. And halfway to a sound barrier. However, the Dragon pilot are going to be coming in with both a shatter and a rocket, which is popped immediately, and Guilty Souls kills himself with the rocket barrage. However, test subject does pick up Charizard and Truce, so it looks like the Dragon pilots are going to stabilize here just before the end of the second point on the bridge. Now, this is a lot of times where teams will get stalled out on the second point because the spawns are closer for the defending team, and you have to run a really long way when you're attacking in order to reach the cart.
Now it looks like they're going through the castle straight onto the point.
Grab comes out from the Dragon Compilers. Not a whole lot. Oh, good follow-up there, actually. Reroll comes out, hits Brigida, and some good damage on the rest of the team. Does get picked by Chippy, though. Grav comes out from the Firemeis on solo Grav and chest subject. Did get the kill on that. It's currently in favor of the Firemeis. Just the Lucio and the Pharah left to contest. Although the Pharah managed to get 2 and stop their push.
Now it looks like this whole team fight, they were not pushing the point, so the point only moved 1 or 2 meters. Yeah,
but with the amount it rolled back to them, they actually ended up being further behind than where they were when they initially stopped pushing. Looks like this time they're going to be opting towards going down the main road instead of trying to go through. Probably better that way due to the splash damage from the Pharah. Trying to go through the castle and close quarters is not a great idea. Diva Bomb comes out, gets 1 on the Ana, but Truce dies in return. Konsu with 2 kills with that Moira Coalescence and another kill from Scratch Attack. Looks like the Firemeis are going to be able to clean this up as long as they can get rid of that Lucio. Always annoying to kill him. They do manage to do that, and the Guilty Souls gets 2 with a rocket barrage, but still advantage for the Firemeis. Looks like they. Oh, Shatter comes out. Bam. No follow up though. However, it does delay enough for the rest of the Dragon Compilers. It looks like maybe they'll turn this round and stop the cart here again. They are doing that. 3 kills, 4 kills for the Dragon Compiler. The fight is definitely won. And the cart is stopped 3.3 meters before the end of the second.
That was an amazing retake. I honestly thought that the Firemeis were going to cap that point.
I did too, but the Dragon Compilers were able to stall it long enough. The majority of the team to make it back, so they had a mana advantage. Like I said, this is where a lot of teams end up getting stalled up, just because the defending team has spawned so much closer. So if you can get a pick, you can snowball from there and end up winning the fight, even if you are down multiple people.
Looks like Hamson got an environmental kill on Jippy. Cruz pinning Reaper and Charizard healing test subject.
Kills are going in the way of the Firemeis, especially with 3 kills on the bomb. They finally pick up that second point with 40 seconds left. Add on another minute and a half, and they currently have about 2 minutes left to push this Halo to the end. Now it'll be interesting to see if Guilty Soul sticks on this far, because in his third point, he really doesn't have a whole lot of room, so usually you see people swap off to Junkrat if they still want that splash damage. However, it does look like they're going to stick on it. Maybe they want to keep that ult charge getting pretty close to that rocket barrage. Jippy and Cruz get a pick pretty quickly though. Guilty Soul trades it immediately though with 2 kills with barrage. The fights are currently even and in favor of the defending Dragon Compilers because of the spawn advantage. Huge shatter from Cruz. Follow up with the Moira. Looks like the Firemeis are going to get a pretty clean wipe on this. Fluffy Chip still trying to stall a bit, but going to be demexed and killed soon after. And the Dragon Compilers are going to have one last chance to try and contest it. You see them switching to stall heroes like Hammond. I wouldn't be surprised to see a May come out. They need to get on heroes that can stall, except not when they're running out of spawn as half the team and get picked. Only half of the team left alive for the Dragon Compilers. Not a whole lot can stall right now. Hammond comes out to try and stall, but gets shattered. Shatter on the Lucio as well, no follow-up. But still, the kills are coming in for the Dragon Maze. So unless this bomb... No, that's from Deltas, never mind. Still, kills coming for the Dragon Maze. Or Firemeis. If they keep doing this, it looks like they're going to be taking the point with a bit of time. However, the Dragon Compilers have been doing a good job of stalling, because now they're down to under 10 seconds. And in the end, they actually do go into overtime.
Now, do they still get to attack, even though it's like 1 second apart?
I believe as long as both teams are under a minute, they both get an extra. But if yeah, so they're both at a minute, and since the Dragon Compilers only had 1.4 seconds left when they capped, it's pretty much completely even in time. So, good job on the Dragon Compilers, able to stall out that last push for a good 30 to 50 seconds and burn down that time so that there's no real time advantage for the Firemeis in the second round.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Looks like this time they are not going to try and run a Torb on defense, but the Firemeis are going to run goats again, because that seemed to work out quite well for them on point A. They were able to just kind of roll in and win the fight pretty easily.
The Dragon Compilers are running a similar comp, but instead of running a Moira, they have a Anna.
1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
If that
Now
Ana
looks
can
like
land a
they're
good
doing sneaky.
anti-nade, then I think the fight will go in the direction of the Dragon Compilers. That's a huge nade, 4 hit, no heals coming out. Charizard gets picked immediately.
Now that was a great play by Tolly.
Yeah, just taking the high ground and dropping the nade directly on the entire Firemeis team. They're able to get 2 picks in that fight. The Firemeis are going to have to retreat, but with only 30 seconds left, they're going to have to push extremely quickly once everyone's respawned. And with the entire team there, they're going to start pushing in immediately. Cruce leading the shard, but another huge anti-nade, 5 players. But they're unable to close the gap and immediately start doing damage to take advantage of it. Huge shatter from Cruce as well. 3-person. Bit of follow-up, manages to get a kill on the Lucio, but Charizard dies at the same time. Grab comes up from the Firemeis. Cruce swinging into it with his Reinhardt hammer, gets 2 from that. Fluffy Sheep kills the Moira, but is able to still the fight going the way of the Firemeis. Except Fluffy Sheep gets 2 with a Diva Bomb. Only Cruce and Delph is left on the point. Now only Cruce. Charizard coming up, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. It's a 3v1 right now. I think that the Dragon Compilers are going to be able to hold this to full hold. Currently 2v5, 3v5 on point. Lucio coming in to try and make it a 4v5. Anti-nade on the Moira gets her really low. Fade gets rid of that. This fight has been going long enough for both teams to get all their team members back, and that's now starting to go in the favor of Firemeis again. Now even ults coming out everywhere. Hammond swinging around everywhere.
That was a great play by Jippy. Jippy knocked the Diva Bomb into the house and this protected his teammates.
Looks like the Firemeis are going to get an advantage right with that. Those closer spawns are able to just kind of slowly chip away at Dragon Compilers. Now it's only 1 left. Fluffy Dongyil jumps onto the point's tracer to try and stall, but both of them are now down. That's the point going towards the Firemeis. So they are, after an extremely long fight, able to finally capture point A.
That was amazing plays by Firemeis. They started this fight in overtime and it continued with Jippy coming in as the savior Hammond.
Yeah, but that fight went on for so long and they were in overtime that if any of them get off the if no one's on the cart for even a quarter of a second, that overtime bar is going to go down immediately. Both shadows come out. Looks like the Dragon Compilers get more out of that, but the Delphus gets 3 kills for the Firemeis, and looks like that's going to be enough to win them this fight. So they are able to continue pushing in overtime. And with that Shatter Burn in that last fight, the Dragon Compilers aren't going to have any ults coming into this next fight unless Guilty Souls can get a lot of charge on that Zarya, his grab up in time. Firemeis start the fight off with a Sound Bear, keeping the whole team healthy, but Jippy ends up killing himself. Test Subject also gets a kill. Looks like this is going in favor of Dragon Compilers, and that Sound Bear is going to hopefully protect Bomb. Plus Ship does get killed. This definitely looks like it's Dragon Compilers finally stopping the push about 2/3 of the way through point 2.
That was an amazing last overtime push by the Firemeis. I honestly thought they were going to not even cap. But once they got some ticks, I was like, okay, that's good enough. But no, they went all the way and capped the point. Now let's see what they're going to run for defense.
For the longest time, the Firemeis didn't have a single tick, but once the Hammond came out, they were able to stall long enough to start get one tick, and kept stalling until they finally just took the entire point. We have pause coming out. Not sure why. Looks like a comms issue.
So what do you think the Firemeis are going to run on defense?
I definitely expect to see the Mei again, just because they like running it when they can. Charizard seems to be really comfortable in that, and on maps like this where they can get a lot of value out of it and make.
Now they only had to hold it for 1 minute and 1 second. So any kind of distraction or even getting one team kill will most likely win them the fight.
Yes, although if they are able to, if that happens too early, the Dragon Compilers will have a second chance to attack, just like the Firemeis did when they lost the first engage on their second attack. But it happened so early that they were able to go in after everyone respawned and get a second attack.
For the superiority of ideas.
So it looks like the Dragon Compilers are going to be running a Goats variation with triple tank, triple support with an Ana on the main healer. And once again, the Firemeis are going to be running that Mei with triple tank and 2 supports. So let's see if the Dragon Compilers are able to work around that Mei wall with that Lucius.
Defend objective A.
Routing power to forward shield.
Mei wall comes out, ends up isolating 2. D.Va is able to get out with her boost, and no picks on Guilty Souls, who was also isolated. He's all the way in the back. But 2 picks for the Firemeis now. This is going to be really difficult for the Dragon Compilers to come back from, because those picks happened fairly late in the fight. So they're going to have to rush to even touch the point. But I'm not even sure if they're going to be able to have all their players in order to do that. Maywell comes out, completely blocks them. I don't know if they're going to be close to the point. They have 5 seconds left.
They do have a Lucio. See the
Lucio and D.Va are able to touch, but
that was a really good counter to the charge by Daniel.
Bomb comes out from Delphis. No picks though. Fight does currently look to be going in the favor of Firemeis currently. Drop comes out, and a Shatter, and a Mail. However, despite that, there's not as many kills as you'd think for the Fire. Although only 3 left on the point to stall for the Dragon Compilers now. Baby D.Va and a Lucio. I don't know how much longer it's gonna hold on. Delphis sends out another bomb. Gets, yep, that's the match right there.
Victory.
And the Firemeis win.
Game on.
So it's now currently 1-1.
Play of the game.
And here we have the play of the game by Delphis. Great tracking.
Nerf this.
Throws up her bomb and gets 3.
Delphis managed to get so many kills with those D.Va bombs in this game. Just constantly getting at least 1, but many times 2 or 3.
It looks like we're going over to 2CP, and Dragon Compilers are going to choose. What map do you think they will choose?
I think they're definitely going to try and avoid Hanamura just because that first choke on point A is so good for Mei. And since they know Charizard likes running Mei, they probably don't want to run. They don't want to play into that. So I'm thinking maybe Horizon Lunar Colony. There's not a whole lot of chokes on that that Mei can abuse. Or possibly maybe Volskaya as well. However, we are going to have a 3-minute break, so it'll be a little bit before we know exactly what map they're playing on.
It seems like I would probably choose Horizon for the map. I think it's the most least favorable for Mei.
I would agree with that.
However, on defense, she is really good on second point, but there's like 3 ways to go. So, and with the Lucio, I think they can run goats, so a Lucio speed will get them straight through.
It can, but as we saw on that last map, sometimes it's not enough because they're running Lucio on that second attack attempt, and multiple times the Mei was able to still get the wall off and split. What I'd actually like to see if they're having a lot of trouble with Mei is see if they can run a Sombra. Getting a hack on that Mei makes her completely unable to do anything for 6 seconds pretty much. So that gives your team a chance to run in completely safely and not have to worry about that wall.
Now, some may say the best counter to Mei is another Mei.
I have seen that work fairly well on some maps like Hanamura. You can use your own Mei on attack to make your own corridor trying to go through that choke. So even if they are able to wall at the end of your wall, it still allows you to get through the choke. So you can just drop your wall and you're in. I'm not sure how much attacking Mei would help on a map like Horizon, but the Dragon Compilers don't seem as comfortable or as willing to run Mei as the Firemeis do. So I'd be surprised if ran Mei in less than optimal situations like attack on Horizon. It does look like the Dragon Compilers are going to choose Horizon Lunar Colony as the next map, and will be defending first.
My hunch was right. Now, it seemed like the first attack of Eichenwald from the Dragon Compilers was pretty much successful with dive. Do you think they'll be running dive for Lunar Colony?
It's certainly an option. With the like I said, with them not being able to run a Mei, that's not any real problem of dive tanks going in and suddenly getting walled off from the rest of the team and not able to be healed. Although the distance that you have to dive on that first point on Horizon attack is pretty far, and it allows the enemy team to get a lot of damage on the tanks as they're jumping. So it might not work as well as they're hoping unless they go all the way around on the right or left and try and use the cover there to get closer before they jump in. Looks like the Dragon Compilers are going to be running a more static comp with Orisa on defense, as well as a Zarya for a off tank with triple support, and a Hanzo for a single DPS. And it does look like right now that the Firemeis are looking to run goats into this.
Attackers incoming in 30
Fluffy Sheep has
seconds.
switched over to the whole hog. And so this does seem like a really good pick composition with the pulled pork combo.
It is, but one of the problems, one of the strengths of goats is that it's hard any one member unless you can happen to pull one of those supports, because one of those tanks getting pulled, they're probably not going to die, especially with 3 supports keeping them alive.
Defend objective A.
The enemy is
The Firemeis taking the left route, immediately getting on a point, forcing the Dragon Powers to scramble a bit to defend the point. Brig jumps down but is immediately picked off because she was alone. And the Dragon Powers are just not contesting point right now. The Firemeis are able to get tick pretty much for free. And the Dragon Powers just kind of trickling in to the point, letting the Firemeis pretty much get picks without having to work for it. Seemed a bit like a bit of a strange defense on the Dragon Powers' part. They all decided to trickle in one at a time instead of all jumping on the point at once.
It's like they're going straight to point.
Yep, the Firemeis is able to get on point immediately, and the Dragon Palace are able to get the first pick in this fight. Second pick, looks like the the Dragon Palace might be able to stop the Firemeis push right here. That it definitely looks like the Dragon Maze are retreating. And I like this Pharah pick from Guilty Souls, because against goats, there's really nothing that the Firemeis can do against that Pharah, especially with these high ceilings on Horizon second point. Still no changes from the Firemeis. Gonna be running that goat. Briggle comes out to give everyone that extra 100 ARP. Crew's able to get a good pick on the Brig. The Farrell comes out but doesn't get anything. However, the Dragon Powers are able to get 2 picks. It does look like they are going to be able to clean this up. Lucy goes down, and the Firemeis are retreating. And the swaps start coming out for the Firemeis. Charizard onto that Mei. One of his most comfortable heroes, probably his most comfortable. And Delphus onto that soldier, Metronome onto that Mercy. So going over to a more standard 2-2-2 comp. However, going into this next fight, the Dragon Compilers are going to have a 3-ult advantage, including a Shatter.
And it looks like Test Subject is setting himself up for a flank shatter. Let's see if he lands it, and he missed! It's okay, it's because he's playing on a laptop.
However, it doesn't matter. The rest of the Dragon Powers are able to get 2 kills, now 3. This looks like another failed push for the Firemeis. Looks like the Firemeis is going to be trying to push it on the left side, but Cruz gets slept immediately, delaying the push for 2 seconds, and Guilty Souls gets an easy pick on Moira, followed by a pick on the Mercy. He dies from self-grip, but that's probably going to stop Firemeis' push right here.
So it looks like they're Cruz switching over to the Winston from the Rhine.
I feel like that's a little bit of a strange pick because there's only one, or I guess two people on the Dragon Compilers that can be really dove effectively, but no one else really to follow Cruz in once he dies. However, they are able to get 2 picks before the fight starts. Now, pick a third in the fight. And Ham Sandwich is forced to trance to try and stall point, but now that that's up, he's going to die super quickly. Test Subject also going from the stall. Nano boosters, he's going to stay alive for a bit longer. But at this point, I think this might be going over towards the Dragon Maze, or Firemeis. Only go. Now no one left. Ham Sandwich alive, but unable to touch point. This is going to be the Firemeis fully capping point B.
Score 0-2. Switching sides. Initiating match.
Actually, Cruz is actually playing on a laptop, not Test Subject.
Oh, so Test Subject has no reason for missing that shatter then.
Yeah, he Test Subject did not have any reason, unless he's also on laptop. It wasn't written here, but yeah, I mean, Reinhardt shatters are always a hit and literally a miss.
It's actually not, it doesn't seem to be their fault because the Zarya did bubble at the same time, so probably could have waited for a better shatter than trying to solo shatter the Zarya that still had her personal bubble up. It happens. Ryan shatter charges is super fast, so whiffing some every now and then is no big deal.
30 seconds.
Looks like Firemeis are going dive defense. Although
Well,
it's a dive, they don't have dive defense.
Yeah, they're running the dive tanks, but no divey DPS or supports to really follow up with that. I think they're just trying to be a bit more mobile with their tank. They are also running that Mei. See if Charizard gets any good walls off. Dragon Compilers trying to push up along the right side to take high ground. Charizard looking for the wall. Does wall off, fly by himself, and that's going to be a free pick. Dragon Compilers on the retreat. Cruz going in, gets stunned and picked. Now it doesn't even fight. A little over aggressive there. And it looks like the Dragon Compilers are going to push the offensive here with their close response. However, Dongyo.
Another separation wall.
Test Subject decides to go straight for the point by himself. No one from the Firemeis currently contesting though. Charizard drops down. Not going to be able to get a tick off that, and it looks like Test Subject's going to be dying here very shortly. Flowship also not in a great position. Looks like the Dragon Compilers are going to be doing a full retreat.
Now the Firemeis did a great job contesting the point right away. Team Dragon Compiler did not even get a tick.
Let's see if the Firemeis decide to try and go for the right side path again, because that Mei wall is really hurting them. Nope, they're deciding this time to opt for the left path. There's less of a choke there. Looks like they're going to be able to get to point pretty much uncontested, except the Tactical Visor comes out, countered by the Trance. Probably not going to get heals from the Tactical Visor. Unzolt comes out, but no grab to combo with, so it doesn't get any. Juvie gets one with his bomb. Currently in the favor of in favor of the Dragon Compile. Only Charizard and Delphus left line, now not live any longer with that 2-man, easily killing them.
It looks like they're prepping to do another push. Let's see if Cruz can get on the point.
Cruz goes in for the stall, misses his shield a bit, but pops Final Rage. He's gonna be a stall for a few seconds. That Discord Orb, he's gonna melt super fast. The Firemeis are coming in for a final stall, but with the mana advantage that the Dragon Compilers have, it's not going to get them much other than a few seconds knocked off that time.
And it looks like the Firemeis are going to be caught off guard.
It's currently only a few people alive for the Firemeis. The spawn's so close, they are going to be able to get to point in time, but they aren't going to have as good of a positioning as they would have if they had just decided to back off after that first loss in the first point. Scepter goes in alone. Gilswell is able to get a pick on Charizard. That's huge. No walls now.
Oh, and Daniel canceled Hanzu's ult. It looks like Mercy's going in for the res.
Moira res, but kills coming in more for the Dragon Compilers and Firemeis. And Sandwich down, but also Metronome down as well. Flip gets the Moira. Delphin's attack visor comes out, but is immediately stopped by the Brig stun. See it. No kills from the Diva Bomb or the Hanzo ult. But it looks like with the spawn advantage, the Firemeis are going to probably forcing them back, but the Grav and Nano comes out. Manages to get a kill off of that. This looks to be going in the favor of the Dragon Compilers once again. Just back and forth. GP demeched, but Fluffy killed. Looks like the Firemeis are finally going to be able to stabilize here and push the Dragon Compilers back to spawn. However, Jippy is still demeched, so if the Dragon Compilers are going to can push in soon, they will effectively be fighting a fight.
Don't worry, my friend.
All systems checked out. I'm back in the fight.
I'm using another position from the wall, and he gets none.
The wall, but the huge shatter comes in, a 6-man shatter. Goes swinging in, gets 1 kill. Not a whole lot of fallout from the rest of the team though. It's pretty much just Cruz swinging into the team. Goes for a super aggressive charge, gets a kill, and it's just the Firemeis cleaning up its team wipe essentially.
My will made real.
Defense matrix activated.
The Dragon Compilers do have an ult advantage this fight.
Yep, 3 ults to 1, although Jippy coming up on a bomb fairly shortly. Charizard misses the wall again, and the Dragon Compilers are able to push through after that wall goes down. Jippy going into the dive on the supports and manages to get Guilty Souls gets a pick with his ult. Fleshship follows up as well. Shuts up against Nano and goes swinging, but isn't able to hit anything. It still looks like the kills are coming in for the Dragon Compilers, so if they can keep this up, they might win the fight. But Fleshship goes down, and with how far the spawns are, that's huge for the Firemeis.
And Cruz gets 3 with his hammer, but none of his teammates can follow through.
Ham Sandwich popped that Tranquility immediately, kept his team alive, and still the fight looks to be going in the favor of the Dragon Compilers. Only Mario left now, no one on the point. Delphus can touch, but he's going to die extremely quickly. Cruz coming in, misses the charge, and dies for it. And that will be the Dragon Compilers finishing Horizon Lunar Colony.
Score 2-2.
However, they were had significantly less time than the Firemeis, so they will only have a minute on their second attack, whereas the Firemeis will have almost 3.
Now, with minute to attack, what do you think the dragon compilers are going to run?
Ready for battle.
I think that they need to. I would personally run Lucio to try and help deal with that Mei wall, and also make sure you avoid right path because Mei walling in there is extremely deadly. They should need to do what they did when they finally capped the point and go along the left side. And yes, they end up switching to the Lucio to try and get that speed boost. Not much change on the Firemeis side though, still running that Mei for defense and Delphus on the soldier for some consistency.
1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Watching your back. Be careful.
Guilty Souls picked off immediately. But it still looks like the Dragon Compilers might be trying to push in. They're just kind of standing here. They need to either push in right now or retreat and wait for Guilty Souls to come back. But they're just kind of stuck out in the open. Firemeis is just getting some free poke from them.
They could also go up the stairs and contest the high ground. But it looks like they're going to go speed boost straight to the point.
With only 20 seconds left, that's a choice. But Guilty Soul is left behind. Gets bulk, but he is a bit low. Does demech Jippy, but dies to it for it. However, Test Subject gets a kill on Cruz. Looks like this could be going the way of the Dragon Compiler. There's Charizard down and Metronome. This is definitely going to be a first point take for the Dragon Compiler.
The Dragons definitely had really good patience with waiting for their respawns to come before pushing in. So they're going straight to point with speed boost.
Wally is able to wall off Ana. Not as many heals coming in. Guild Souls goes down. Ham Sam just goes down as well. But both Charizard, Jippy, and Jippy go down. Sludge goes down. This looks to be going the way of Firemeis cleaning up, and they are not able to get even a single tick on point B. However, taking first point in a minute, that's pretty good.
2. Switching sides.
I have to agree. Even capping it with 5, so I can see some teams not even capping the first point with 5 minutes in the bank, let alone just 1. Let's see what they run on defense.
So they're going to have to be defending for almost 3 minutes. They're probably going to look to have some more sustain. That's what they're going for with Diana. Great sustained healing there.
Ready for
And they're also going to be running Guilty Souls on the far. I assume they think that Firemeis is going to be running Goats again, like they have before, and so they want that splash damage combined with the fact that Goats can't really deal with the Pharah.
30 seconds.
Now we've seen a lot of impactful antis from Toli. They definitely will be greatly appreciated here in this defense.
Yeah, what Toli's been able to do in the past, get a high ground advantage, and as the Firemeis are running past underneath, he just throws a grenade directly downwards and gets the entire team. Let's see if he's going to do the same thing here, because they will have to walk by where he is in order to get the point. Like their Firemeis are going to be going around the left side. Huge nade. See if there's any follow-up on it. No picks from that grenade, but still a lot of damage coming out for Guilty Souls. Already almost halfway to Test Up does get kill Cruz. Still a 5v6 on point though. Now a 4v6 as Kansu goes down to a charge. Delphus gets demech. This definitely looks like the Dragon Souls are going to be able. Dragon Compiler is going to be able to repel the Firemeis' first attack. If he's still out here, gets staggered. That's going to eat off a good probably 20 seconds before they can push again. So good defense from the Dragon Compiler. Is burned off a minute. Didn't lose anyone in their fight.
Guilty Souls has his barrage. He's probably gonna have to get the Diva out of mech if he wants to.
They also have Shatter available, so if they can get good Shatter, that barrage can do a lot of damage.
And she goes
Guilty Souls
behind
goes for a flanking
and-
barrage, but doesn't get anything, ends up killing himself, does demech the Diva. Tons of ults come out, Sound Barrier is used, Grav is used, second Grav is used, and that's the entirety of the Firemeis caught in that. But the Coalescence manages to get 2 while Grav.
60 seconds remaining.
And it looks like there's no one left on the Dragon Piles left to defend point, so the Firemeis are probably going to end up taking this unless someone is feeling brave and tries to stall. Nope, they're all backing up and looking to take a more advantageous position for defense of B. So now a minute left for the Firemeis to push.
Objective B.
However, they only need 1 tick in order to win.
60 seconds remaining.
Firemeis looking to push the top right, but Guilty Souls able to get a lot of splash damage, shooting rockets down from above. Charizard does manage to take out his counterpart on team as Brig. Jibby also takes out Guilty Souls. Delphus's bomb comes out, does get Tolia's with that, and hand signature goes down. This looks like the Firemeis are going to be able to take this first tick. Only a Brig left defending. And the Brig goes down. Test up tries to touch, can't. Guilty Souls last one alive. Goes down. And that is the map to the Firemeis.
Play of the game.
Again, Dangju? Oh, come on, dude.
I got you covered.
Holds shield, holds mouse 1, and he shifts, and he does an E. Great job by Don Gill. Another slap gets another elim.
Epic.
Just doing my part.
So the Firemeis are currently up 2-1 in the series. They only need to take one more map. But the Dragon Pilots do get to choose the next map, so let's see what they've...
Now it's going to be a payload map. What do you think they're going to choose?
Again, given the fact that they know Charizard plays a lot of Mei, and the fact that that wall is really hurting them, and sometimes I think they're going to avoid Dorado because there are a number of good chokes on that. Looks like they are going for Yalto. There are a number of chokes on that, but there are also a number of ways to get around those. So it's not as bad as, say, the first choke on Dorado. And the Dragon Pilots will be attacking first.
Now they know that Charizard's mate is very strong in defense. What do you think they're going to choose for attack?
I expect to see Guilty Souls on fire again. He's been able to get a lot of value, or just rain some damage in from above. I expect they also be running the Lucio again to try and work around that Mei wall. But the tank line and supports I expect to pretty much be the same as before. The Dragon Compilers are pretty comfortable on the comp they've been running. So I guess they just want to see if they can outplay the enemy team with what they have.
Initiating match.
Actually, it looks like Dongyul might be bringing out his Widow. We have seen that a bit before, but not for particularly extended periods of time. We'll see if he's able to get any picks with that right out of the gate. Looks like the Firemeis are going to be running the exact same comp as last time, with that Soldier and Mei, with Ryan Zarya for tanks, and the Mercy and Moira for heals.
Ready for battle.
That combination of the high healing output supports the self heals from the Mei and the Soldier really allows them to stay alive in these fights for a lot longer than the Dragon Compilers a lot of the time. We're currently only running 2 supports, a Ana and a Lucio.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
Looks like the Firemeis are gonna not try and do anything at this bridge. They're just gonna put them back up to the second corner. Jupi does get slept, but Cruz jumps in front to cover him. Fluffy Sheep tries to go in for damage on the slept Cruz, or slept.
Oh, he just got debated.
Yeah, but the Mei wall goes up immediately, and he's cut off from the rest of the team and dies very promptly. However, it looks like the Dragon Compilers are going to keep trying to push this, despite being down a player. Dongyul looking for the pick on the Soldier, misses. Charizard blows the wall to try and go after Dongyul. However, he's repelled by Guilty Souls on that Pharah, and backs up to the rest of his team.
So Cruz has a Shatter?
Cruz already has Shatter compared to only 50% on Test Chip. He's going to be looking to use that. All comes out, not able to fully isolate the team, and Test Subject goes down.
Metronome is doing such a great job keeping up his.
Even though Mercy recently got nerfed to only be able to heal 50 pulse per second, that's still quite a bit compared to a lot of other healers. Without mobility, Mercy offers to be able to duck in or not, keep her tanks nice and healthy.
Also, I don't know if Metronome is a male or a female. We don't have those notes, and sorry for assuming the gender. Looks like Dongyul's going for a flank, and he gets Kongfu.
And the rest of the Dragon Compilers are going up top to try and get a drop down on the rest of the Firemeis. Drow comes out and gets 4 of the Dragon Compilers that Somber used to counter. Test Subject shatters, gets Charizard with it, and you guys probably get Delphus uses his attack visor, it gets Guilty Souls, and a couple more picks from the Firemeis. Looks like they might be able to stall this out right here. And the Dragon Compilers are on the retreat. Currently, only Test Subject left alive after that fight. And Dongyul switches to the Reaper. I guess they think that the Cruz on that Reinhardt or Jippy on the Zarya is doing a bit too much, and they need some tank killing power.
Looks like Cruz is setting up for a flank shatter.
However, it's not going to be much of a flank given that the Dragon Compilers are taking the top route again. Gets out of that flanking position and goes back to the rest of the team. May comes out, but only Fluffy Ship caught in it. Does die to that and touch subject soon after being isolated. Golden Souls tries to get up some picks with his ult, doesn't get anything, and just dies for it instead. Only 30 seconds left, and the payload has only gotten about halfway through the point.
30 seconds remaining.
This is going to be the last attack opportunity that Dragon Prowlers are going to have. However, they are going to be coming in with a grab, but nothing to combo it with.
Огонь по готовности!
Grab comes out, gets 4 or 5
Огонь по готовности!
Firemeis, get 3 picks off of that. Counter grab comes out, but only 1 pick out of that, so the advantage is going towards the Dragon Compilers. Another pick on Charizard. This definitely looks like the Dragon Compilers are finally going to be able to make progress in this first point.
Now they are in overtime, so if they even step away from the payload for a second, it's gonna go down. And they're gonna lose
Looks
point.
like the Firemeis are going to try and contest this before the end of the first point. Cruz is coming in, he does touch him, and Delphus' attack visor comes out. No kills yet. Dongil does kill Cruz after he charges into the backline. However, Delphus kills him in return. Currently even. Flight Shoot gets a pick on Delphus, so currently looking favorable for the Dragon Compilers. However, he is red, but the Zoning Dragon comes out. Flight Shoot gets another pick. However, Fluffy Sheep is getting very close to his grab, so he might use it as soon as he can. Zoning, Mail comes out, so no one on payload. They were all frozen by that and killed, but the few that were still left weren't able to touch payload. That the Dragon Pal is unable to even get 1 point on Rialto.
Switching sides. Initiating match.
So it looks like the Dragon Pilots want to run of May of their own, considering how much, how effective that wall was in that first area. They're just able to completely block off the team. I'm not surprised. And Fluffy Sheep on the Reaper. Although Dongil goes back and swaps his Zarya. Guess they don't want the May after all. Goes back and swaps to the May. They are being a bit indecisive here. However, on the Firemeis side, once again, Charizard on the same team pretty much as they've been running this entire time. See how effectively Charizard can use that May wall on attack.
1. Attackers incoming. Escort the payload.
Dragon Compile is looking to contest at this first corner. Reaper looking to drop down once the payload push up a bit. He goes after Moira. And Charizard drops. No picks on the support, but with that pick on Charizard, looks like the Firemeis are going to back up. But Jippy picks off Test Subject. This is now a huge advantage for the Firemeis. They do lose Cruz, but it's immediately rezzed up, so still a mana advantage to the Firemeis. Totally gets a huge nade though.
For a flame. Putting pressure on David.
Fleshship unable to get a pick on Delphus, has to retreat and ends up dying just before he's able to get the cover. Totally is now picked. This is not looking good for the Dragon Compiler's only hand sandwich and Test Subject left alive. They're backing up, trying to regroup for one final push onto the cart. Still uses his dragon to try and install it. Doomfist comes out from Fleship. No picks yet though. Cruz misses Shatter and Tetsup returns it with a 2-person Shatter. Gets a kill off of that.
Both supports Muse. Trying to capture this point.
Mail comes out, that's on point, but Charizard dies. Hand Sandwich dies in turn, frozen by that mail. But it does look like there are going to be more Dragon Compiler members on the cart than for the Firemeis, and the Firemeis are going to retreat and regroup.
Do I have your attention yet?
Test subject with a fire strike into the Mercy is going to force them to regroup a little bit longer with that late stagger.
Fleship goes back and changes off that Doomfist onto the starts spamming that pathway, getting some ult charge. Already up to a quarter. Wall not quite able to separate the team from either Mei. Guilty Souls uses his dragon, but trades Cruz and test subject.
And the wrist does not go off.
Looks like
Daniel is popping off on his Mei. He's showing Charizard. There can only room for one Mei, and it's gonna be me.
Dongil coming up on a mail to his own. Probably going to look to use it in this next fight to keep the Firemeis off of that payload.
Looks like Dragon Compilers are running triple DPS and a single tank.
Well, it seems to be working for them. Both these past fights have worked out pretty well for them. Fluffy trying to get a bit of a flank and spam rockets down from the side. Wall does isolate the test subject, who gets frozen. No kills though. Shatter on Charizard. No kill though. Looks like the Firemeis are going to be able to get a team kill, and that is going to be the map right there.
Amazing.
That the Firemeis take the match 3-1.
Here's play of the game by Cruz.
Huge shatter.
A 4-man shatter, a charge, and a swing. Amazing. And guess what, guys? He's playing on a laptop. Epic. Amazing. And he gets a legendary card.
Well, congratulations to the Firemeis for winning that match. Good play all around. A lot of the matches were pretty close.
So the finals will include the Firemeis and what other team?
I believe it is Embrace Tranquility. No, yeah, Embrace Tranquility.
Kale, yeah, Kale for short. Team Kale. Well, that is going to be an epic showdown because Jippy Lion and Charizard are on AGL team along fighting against Adversity and Uber, who are playing on Team Kale. So it's going to be an epic battle for the finals.
Looks like we might be bringing in someone from the Firemeis for Q&A. Now we have Delphus with us.
Hi.
Congratulations on the win.
Thanks.
Now, Delphus, when you were on your diva, you were popping off on your diva bombs, and then you switched to soldier. How does your mind switch from tank to DPS when you're playing?
Yeah, good question. I mean, I guess it's. I mean, I play soldier normally when we're playing 2-2-2, and I just switch to diva when we're playing goats. So it's sort of like not just a mindset of an individual person, but also just like the entire team plays a little bit differently. So yeah, when I'm playing soldier, I'm just like looking to apply pressure, fight off their Pharah or other DPS. Whereas with diva, trying to like do as much damage as possible, also deny like Pharah or any other like DPS on high ground, stuff like that.
Yes, I saw you on Horizon. You and wait, sorry. One of the viewers from the chat actually wanted to ask you how you decide when to diva bomb.
I generally like to use it basically as when I get it, because you can get it back pretty quickly. Generally, I would say like if the positioning of the enemy team is sort of like out in the open and it looks like they're kind of far away from cover, then I like to send one out. At the very least, it forces them to use cooldowns or like spend a lot of effort getting to cover. So it still has like zoning purposes. Yeah, and sometimes it also gets a few kills.
So one of the questions that we have in chat as well is, who is your favorite Mei player? I can guess who asked this.
Well, I'm gonna have to go with our team's main player. He's he's made it really difficult for other teams to deal with us, and yeah, sets up really great plays, and especially in particular enables our Ryan. So yeah.
Having played against him in AHL, I can say his Mei is extremely annoying to play against.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do you alternate like your Mei walls and like just using it? Because sometimes when I'm playing with a Mei, she just gets in the way with her wall. Like I'm trying to shatter and she blocks my own shatter. Like that's so frustrating. So how do you guys communicate when you're using the wall?
I'm not. To be honest, I guess I might not be the best person to ask that question. I don't know. We sort of just like yeah, our Mei is very good. He spots good opportunities to put up the wall, and I mean we do like once the wall is up and someone's trapped, we do call out who to focus. But obviously the most important thing, I guess, in that case is just setting up the wall in the first place. Everything else after that is pretty easy.
Someone in chat asks why you didn't pull the Delphus. I assume there might be a missing T there, so Doomfist? Do you play Doomfist?
Oh, I do not. I think it might be just a joke. It might be one of my friends.
So what's the meaning behind your name, Delphus?
Oh yeah, Delphus is it's just Latin for dolphin.
Well, so working towards finals against Team Kayliddy. What do you think you're going to expect from them?
Yeah, I don't know. To be honest, we've been mostly focused up until now on just this match. So yeah, I don't have many details to share about our like thoughts or preparation for the next match. But yeah, they got to the same place as us, so we expect a big challenge. And yeah, we'll see if we can step up and win it.
Well, that's all the questions we have from the chat. Is there any questions or like anything you want to ask the analyst or the casters?
Yeah, not really any questions. But yeah, just I wanted to thank you guys for taking your time to cast this. And yeah, it's great that you're doing this, and yeah, just it's great that this tournament as well. It's been a blast.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. It's my first time casting, and it's been really fun with my co-caster, Brian. And so we want to thank you for coming and having a Q&A with us, and good luck in your finals.
Anytime. Thanks.
Alright, I think that's it for the stream. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you all enjoyed. We'll probably be back for the finals. See you then.